Hey everybody, ShadRunrrr here. I apologize if there's any background noise or anything like that. One thing about living the life of a nomad is trying to find a place that's not too noisy where you can record videos. So, recap of last week. I promised you guys every week I would be doing a weekly vlog of all my UTMB training. And so week one, UTMB, what a week. What a week, everybody. I started off strong. Monday mornings I always do what I call just a mountain run. I find a local mountain wherever I happen to be for that time period. Week one was Helena, Montana, where for my Monday morning run, I did Mount Ascension. Ended up getting about 8.6 miles. In fact, I got all the data here. We'll just go through it. So I ended up getting 8.63 miles with about 1,500 feet of vert, just over. Felt really good. I actually ran an uphill section that I have never been able to make it all the way to the top on, and I darn near made it all the way to the top. Felt really good. I actually set on that segment, that course segment, the 10th all time out of everybody course speed on that. And then and I felt really good. And then in the evening, I felt good enough. Decided to get a little bit extra vert and decided to climb Mount Helena. Went up the really steep part, so it was just a power hike up, and then we took the short route down. Ended up being about 2.5 miles with 1,100 feet of vert. So I did really, really good that day. Tuesday is my 2-hour just getting out there, run for 2 hours, push it as hard as I can, but not push it too hard. I call it a steezy pace. I stole that term from Seth DeMore. It's like a steady, easy pace, basically. So we did that. We just did road miles around town. We ended up getting just over 11 miles. That had so much uphill that I don't know what the vert was exactly for that, but it had way more uphill to that route than I thought there would. It felt like the whole thing was uphill, and we started and stopped at the same place. But we did that, averaged right around a 10:30 mile, which for road miles for me is pretty slow, but ended up because all that uphill, like I said, it felt a lot rougher than it should have. And I was a little bit tired from the day before as well. But we recovered well that afternoon, and so I did another trip up the mountain and ended up Mount Helena, I should say. We did the exact same thing we did before, 2.5 miles with about 1,100 feet of gain. We actually did it 2 minutes faster than we did the night before, but just to kind of round everything out. And then Wednesday is normally my hill repeat day. This is the first time I've done hill repeats in probably 9 or 10 months, and I can tell you I felt it. My plan for that day was to do 3 minutes on, 3 minutes off, and I'm not gonna lie, I did that first one and barely made it to 2 minutes, so I decided, you know what, we're just gonna do 2 minutes on, 3 minutes off for this first one, and we will just be happy with it, and we're gonna do 10 of those. We ended up doing 10 of those. It ended up being, with the cool down and the warm up, we ended up doing about 5.5 miles with 1,200 feet of vert, and I felt it. That afternoon, we did not do anything up the mountain. It was not gonna happen. So Thursday again is supposed to be just pretty much just a 2-hour little steady run. More on the endurance run, 2 to 3 hour, I should say, endurance run is what I was going for. So I ended up just running, hoping that the wildflowers would be blooming. We ran the whole entire length of the Mount Helena Ridge Trail to go from. So we started at the Mount Helena Trail head, went all the way up on top of Mount Helena, all the way over along the ridge, all the way to Park City Trailhead, which you have to drop down into, and then you have to climb right back up, and it's a heck of a climb coming up out of that. And we pushed ourselves pretty good, and I was very impressed with how well I did. Not only did I run 95% of all the uphills, but I felt good doing it. And I ran the entire climb coming up out of Park City, but it ended up being almost 16 miles, just shy of 16 miles with about 3,200 feet of vert. So I was happy with that run. And with all the uphill that we had on that, I was still able to average right around 12 minutes per mile, which for me is really good with all the vert. And stopping to say hi to dogs and everything else, because I did say stop and say hi to, I have to stop and say hi to all the dogs. So Friday, so Wednesday is when the smoke started moving in here in Helena from Canada. Felt it Wednesday, felt it Thursday, Friday. I think my sinuses and everything had just had enough of the smoke, and I just felt so crappy. Friday, it wasn't from all the training that we'd been doing throughout the week. It was all because of the smoke. My sinuses just hurt. I was all plugged up. My throat hurt from breathing in the smoke from the previous days running and all that kind of stuff. So we started off Friday with, I call it Friday fartlek. It's supposed to be all intervals, doing another speed session. We came out here to the park that I'm at right now in order to do the intervals. We did the warm-up, and that was it. I couldn't take it anymore. So we didn't do very far. We only did about, what did we do, like 2 miles? Yeah, just a little over 2 miles, 2.3 miles is all we did as a warm-up, and I just called it. And in all actuality, that was probably the best thing to do. My long run the next day, it was rough. I'll have another video coming out on just that long run. It was a new loop I haven't done before. The first 5 miles is one of my favorite trails that I do whenever I get back here into town. I just love that trail, but I've never done the section after that. Any of it after that. I've never been on those trails. I've always wanted to do this loop. I knew this loop existed, so I've always wanted to do it, but when I had my dog, it was just too long and exposed for her that she would never have been able to do it, because she would have just got too hot and everything, and I would not have been able to carry enough water for both of us. I will tell you that section after that first 5 miles, so it's a 6 mile section to climb up to the top of the ridge, Meriwether Canyon Trail. That was brutal. It was brutal. That trail, it's through a burn scar from, that fire was probably 10 years ago maybe. Has not recovered at all. There was so much deadfall across the trail. The high altitude underbrush was just completely overgrown on the trail. You couldn't even figure out. I lost the trail so many times. There was actually one time I spent 45 minutes trying to find the trail. And I did finally find it again, not anywhere near where Onyx Maps said it was supposed to be, but we did find it, made it to the top. But that 6 mile section took me over 3.5 hours. The whole rest of the run only took me just over 2 hours. Well, I guess it would have been about 2.5 hours. So it was just brutal, and it was hot, it was exposed. One of my miles was like a 53-minute mile because I was just having to climb over so much deadfall and trying to find the trail, and and all that. You can tell that they had not done any maintenance on that trail for at least 2 or 3 years. I mean, it easily been 2 or 3 years since they've done anything to that trail. It was brutal. Once we got to the top, the rest of the trail all the way down was beautiful, gorgeous, nice, buttery trail. I loved it. And then the last 2 miles was on a forest road, and that sucked. I got so burnt up. By then I'd been out there for over 6.5 hours, and it was so brutal, so hot, completely exposed and dry. And I mean, for once, me overpacking my food and like nutrients was a good thing, because I used it all on that run, because I was out there twice as long as I thought I would be. And I'm really so glad I brought my Solomon filter bottle, because I was able to fill up my bottles 2 or 3 times along the way, because it is still early enough in the year that there's even some of the seasonal creeks are still running really, really good right now. And so I was able to fill up quite a few times on the route, and it was a good thing that I brought that up. But overall, I actually felt good. We did run. It ended up being about 21.3 miles with almost 5,000 feet of vert. And so overall, I felt good, but I think a lot of that was because of having to go so slow. It just reserved me. Even if that trail was cleared off, it would have been very runnable, and I think, but I still think I would have felt pretty good, because I felt great. The next day, Sunday, we did our recovery run, and it went really well. We did, I want to say 7 miles. I don't even remember what we did on there. I shoot for between 6 and 8 miles for my recovery runs. Yeah, we did 7.22 miles. Felt really good. Just ran around the lower parts of the city here, not any hills or anything like that, and it felt really good. So it was overall really, really good first training week. Feeling strong. I think I'm going to have a good training block this time, as long as I can keep on the pace we were doing. My uphill legs are feeling really strong, and hopefully we can continue this trend. I'm going to start, I did more vertical. I guess I could tell you what I did for the whole week. Actually, I don't have it on here, because there we go. So the whole week we did just about 80 miles with almost 14,000 feet of vert. So pretty good week for me for the first week of the training block, especially coming off the previous 2 weeks where I had pushed over 100 miles each week. In fact, I think the Cocodona week I was at over 120 miles, and then the week after that was when I did that 30K race as well. And that 30K race I did with 100 miles on my legs. I almost hit 120 miles that week as well. So to start a training block off with, I always dip back down because I start doing a little more higher intensity stuff. So to do 80 miles with 14,000 feet of vert and have my legs feel as good as they did at the end of the week, I was very, very excited to see what these next few training weeks can do. So anyways, that's going to be it. That's the recap for UTMB training week 1, and I will see you guys for training week 2. Bye everybody. I love y'all, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye everybody.